Okay, my name's Zakashi guys, and in this video here we are going to be doing a top 10 tier list for the new unit that has dropped, which is Ultra Golden Frieza. A lot of people are obviously interested in him, some people might not be because they're saving for the obvious, but with that all being said, the unit is quite quality, so we gotta put them on the tier list. I'm doing too much talking already, let's get straight into this, man. This is for anybody that might want to make a tier list of themselves. We've got Dingy's Twitter, and why am I showing you this? It's because he's the guy that makes the tier list template. So if you want to make your own tier list, go ahead on Twitter, follow DNGEE_YT, and the link is right here, DBL tier list template, where you can make your own top 10 if you disagree with anything I have to say, or you just want to make your own for any other purposes. That's all I've got to say. Now let's actually get into this tier list. Alright, so here we are with the top 10 tier list. Obviously we got 1 to 10 and we've got the honorable mentions. All the characters here are characters that are going to make the tier list. Anybody not here is pretty much just not involved. There are some people you might want to consider, but for the most part I already have an idea of what I'm going to be doing. So let's get straight into this. So we've got number 1 in the game. I think I'll put in the top 3, and I think the top 3 are going to have some good decisions, but of course they're going to have the most disagreements out of anything. So for me, I've personally got mine locked in place. I'm going to drag up the 3 people that are involved. So we've got Gohan involved, we've got Super 17 involved, and we've got Ultra Golden Frieza. Now I'm going to start with number 1, and the number 1 for sure for me is Super 17. He, without a doubt, more than ever before, is just clear of the game. He was always number 1 to me. He's the most oppressive unit in the game. No matter how you want to argue, Gohan could help you defensively. Gohan's dodge is crazy, his counter, all that is cool if you can use it, which Super 17 literally stops. Super 17 hits you with a tap shot of any kind. You can't use strikes or blast. I mean strikes or blue, sorry. And that's a big problem when you're trying to play PvP. With blast darts, they go off a lot slower, but the same thing good with Super 17 is that he's range type. He uses blast cards more than anything else. So because of that, he's going to be able to actually bypass the dodge here that Gohan has. Let's also point out the fact that Ultra Golden Frieza dropped the new unit, the art you see on the right. He's purple, directly countering Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now, a lot of people felt, of course, just because he's purple doesn't mean he's going to counter Gohan, because Gohan is actually very insane. Let's not downplay how good Gohan is. He's top 3 for a reason. But Golden Frieza actually ended up being insane. His comeback ability is super good and actually stops Gohan from actually excelling as much as he would, being able to just one-shot him with the counter in a lot of cases. Ultimate Arts does insane damage and even the blue card. So really and truly, Golden Frieza actually put Gohan in check. Not completely, but enough for it to make a difference on the tier list. And let's also put in the conversation that Golden Frieza and Super 17 are on the same team. They can be ran on par for opponents. I do understand that this guy's strike based and Super 17 is blast based, but in general, regardless, Super 17 is way more oppressive than both of these units as well. I mentioned only his tap shots when talking about Super 17, but really and truly that's the core thing that makes him insane. But let's actually talk about everything else. You know, his combos are the longest in the game. He's able to draw a card every time you cover change, which actually extends his combo. Cover null every time his gauge fills. The green card basically guarantees a kill. And I think that's pretty much all I've got to say for this number 1 unit that I've got here, Super 17. Now we got to go into number 2. Number 2 is between Ultra Gohan, Super Saiyan 2, and we've got Golden Frieza. Now I think these two could be interchangeable, but for me, I'm really locked in on having Golden Frieza second. I think it's just such a safer option. And my reasons are simply for the fact that they can fit on the exact same teams, but Golden Frieza has one extra team that is probably better, and he also just works better with all the teams that Gohan's are on, except maybe one. So if we look at the teams, you see a lot of people are running Ultra Gohan on powerful opponents, where Super 17 and Red Cell were being placed on the team. But why would you do that if you could have a full powerful opponent team where the equipment's mesh better and Ultra Golden Frieza is a direct counter to Gohan? It just doesn't make sense. You also get way more protection with Frieza with the comeback ability. He can also directly just do an insane amount of damage with his comeback ability, just taking Gohan out of the game. The ultimate also does an insane amount of damage, and I feel like Golden Frieza, it's much easier to consistently survive in the game because of his green card. Now his green card is what's really giving me the edge over Gohan. With his green card you get what? The Vanish Recovery, you get combo extension because he draws card, and he gets cover null. Those 3 things from one card is absolutely insane. It's able to make him a 3v1 unit, a unit that's able to do comebacks from any point in the game, not just a unit like Gohan, where Gohan is still insane, but he's really only that problem. Like when I'm saying the problem of the match, when he's last stand. Gohan last stand, he might as well be the best in the game. But that's not something you'd have consistently. He might die earlier in the game. So for those reasons, I've easily got Ultra Golden Frieza above. Let's also talk about Hybrid Saiyans, right? Clearly and truly, really and truly, everybody knows Hybrid Saiyans are just phased out. It's not as good as the top team's powerful opponent. Even LOE has shot up to the ceiling. So if we're really talking about what it is, there's no reason to have Gohan above these guys unless you're forcing Gohan on your team. And it's not like Gohan is miles behind. It's not like Gohan's like 5 or 7 or something. That's ridiculous. He's right there with these two. But I feel like Super 17, he's just way more oppressive when controlling the battlefield. And Golden Frieza is directly countering this guy with way more oppressive teams and replaces him on his teams where he was being run. And nobody can tell me otherwise, because Gohan, he was never really being run on Hybrid Saiyans as his core team. The fact that Gohan's being taken out of Hybrid Saiyans to be run on powerful opponents shows how good powerful opponents is, and shows that he should not be above the actual powerful opponents that are insane in the game. So yeah, this is my top 3 here. Super 17 number 1, Ultra Golden Frieza number 2, Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan number 3. Solid top 3, 100% for me. Moving forward, we gotta do 4 and 5. 4 and 5 gonna be maybe debatable, but I'll put who I think is worth on the list. So I'm gonna be bringing up two valuable GT GOATs. These guys have been just going up in stock consistently. A lot of people thought one of them would phase out, but one of them was downplayed simply because he released at a terrible time. But now his stock, it's hitting. But these 2 units, I'm gonna put them up straight away in order. We've got Bomku going at number 4, and we've got Baby at number 5. These 2 units are actually insane, but let me explain. Bomku, he immediately pairs with Super 17, but he's also that counter to Super 17. So he has 2 benefits there. Bomku, he's being able to lock people in if it's last stand, so the enemy's last stand. His solar flare works effectively in stalling. You can get a rising rush right there. He has endurance, so he's super safe with that factor. And his healing is absurd. His healing in the game is really the best in the game. It might be the best in the game. Oh, my hat's falling off. It might actually be the best in the game. If Bomku catches that HP check, long day. It's like fighting an Elden Ring boss. You might as well restart the game. So he's not dying, let's be honest. But of course, he can also do extra things with his main ability. So I spoke about how he can actually take away, if I didn't say it, he can take away your vanish if you're last stand, but he locks you in if one person's dead. So this guy here is cooking, bro. It's just straight cooking, and his element is just giving me extra justice. Cool. Let's talk about Baby though. Baby was downplayed a lot. I always just respected his gauge. I felt his kit could work, but obviously he had no reason to shine with Super 17 and Cell being ran every single game, and Gohan's just that extra icing on the cake. But with Ultra Golden Frieza being ran a lot, Super Baby just stocks go up. On top of the fact that there's a lot less double red. It's not completely gone, but it's a lot less now. So really and truly, Super Baby 2 is not a victim of any means. He pairs with a lot of GT units which already make up a lot of the top 5, Bomku, Super Baby 2 and Super 17. So there's really no reason to downplay him now. I refer to him as Ultra Broly 2.0 because of the way his gauge works, but his gauge having consistently vanish removal is actually absurd. I think that's the biggest problem out of his kit, and that makes him a problem on the battlefield. He's able to just really break combos in half immediately, and if you save it for the right time, trust me, you'll be like, damn, Super Baby 2 really did one over me. But his element right now, whereas before it was his disadvantage, it's really his advantage in the meta. He's actually being able to protect you from units like Golden Frieza, who's being run on a full purple or LOE team, which is actually kind of what you need right now. So yeah, I've got him at number 5, Bomku number 4. All right, so we're moving on to 6. We've got 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? So next up, I'm going to be bringing up Beast Gohan. Now, a lot of people have been downplaying Beast a lot, and I don't see the reason why. He's easily still one of the best units that could easily 3v1 you. His blue cards are insane, and his vanish cover is nuts. People try to act like he's just completely trash now, which is a massive downplay to what Beast is capable of doing on the PvP battlefield. We've glazed him for enough since he's released. He really just took the shine from Evil Ken when he released in the festival, and they're really trying to phase out these festival units, which is what I've noticed. But if we're really talking about Beast, he pairs directly well with Gohan. Like, not even joking, because in a lot of cases, if you're using Gohan, you'll be using Pan. But another thing I've seen is a lot of people have been using the base as Hybrid Saiyans because their Zenkai buffs are good, specifically for Beast. but then they would put a powerful opponent on the leader slot. So it's kind of like the reverse of what people were doing with Gohan when the base team would be powerful opponents. So in the previous meta, it was Ultra Gohan leader, then you'd have the powerful opponent core, which is Super 17, Red Cell, and the Zenkai buffs. But there's also the reverse that happens a lot in PvP, where your leader slot would be Super 17, or you could use Ultra Golden Frieza now, and the whole bench could be Hybrid Saiyan. So you'd have Beast Gohan, Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, or maybe Pan instead of one of the other two, depending on what you've got in your box. But because Beast can easily just push through, I think he works very well, especially with the addition of Ultra Golden Frieza being melee orientated. He can cook in accordance to that team being very melee ran. So I'm gonna still give Beast his props. A lot of people try to act like he's just crap now. That is a crazy disrespect, but I think he's solid. He's very, very solid. Moving up to 7, we've got next, the most toxic unit that got breastfed by the developers very insanely. We've got Go Frieza. I don't really like this unit, you know, but I don't like to be biased. I give props where props is due. Let's look at Go Frieza. 2 elements, Rising Rush protection, long combos, insane blue card damage, cover no, healing, combo extension. There's just so much things that happen in this unit's kit. But I think the main thing that is good with Go Frieza, is that they mesh directly well with Ultra Golden Frieza. Now, if you know LOE just has so much stock put into it because their template is so good with First Form Frieza. They also have so many purple Zenkai buffs, just generally buffing the team, making it insane. So naturally, Go Frieza has to make the top 10 somewhere. But I've got him at 7 because he's literally the best partner with Ultra Golden Frieza. I've used Golden Frieza on movies, powerful opponents. I've even tried him on leader slot other teams. And really and truly, he just clears on LOE. And I'm sure a lot of people would know that as well. The LOE mains have come out of hiding after like months of being nerfed, all because Ultra Golden Frieza dropped. And that has significantly raised the stock of Go Frieza naturally. The Rising Rush protection is very underrated. A lot of people, because it's been in the game so long, it's kind of become underrated. It goes under the radar, but it's a big reason why you can't attack the team. But if you consider the comeback ability and the Rising Rush protection being on the same team, if you've got obviously Golden Frieza, Go Frieza at decent stars, one combo from the LOE team, you're finished. You're actually finished. It's going to be a big problem for you to deal with. So you got to be careful when dealing with LOE 100%, because they can literally take you out in 5 cards, 6 cards. No joke. So that's why I've got Go Frieza at 7. The 2 elements is just the icing on the cake, with the blue being able to stop Super 17, which also gives the stock. And Frieza on the Go Frieza unit is actually probably way more exceptional than Goku, simply because of the cover when you switch in. So yeah, respect to Go Frieza, they've made the 7th space on this top 10. Moving up next, we've got Cell. Cell, I'm not going to lie, he's still getting backpacked. He's getting backpacked by the powerful opponent core. If he didn't have revival, he wouldn't make the list. But he does do some good stuff for the team in terms of tanking. People say he's not tanky, which is just not true, because the team has amazing Zenkai buffs, and the fact that you have to get 2 lives through is enough to call him tanky, not just because he has the revival, but the Zenkai buffs add to that. He spawns a green card pre-revival and a blue card post-revival. From the green card pre-revival, he can turn that into a blue card, which is just super good, and it's that extra layer of combo extension. People want to downplay this guy, but he's on the best team in the game and being consistently used. And I've shown previously that he's able to tank. So naturally, even though he is getting backpacked, maybe he doesn't deserve it, but the case is he's on the team. He's on the team and there's nothing you can do about it, which is why he's 8th on this list. Now, next up, I'm bringing up Ultra UI Goku, right? A lot of people might have wanted this guy higher on the list, but the reason I've got him down here is because you have to accommodate for him. And if you're accommodating for a unit that isn't top 3 in the game, you're doing something wrong if you're trying to win. If you're playing for fun or you like using him, that's cool. And I'm not saying he cannot be a good counter, but why would you change your whole team to make UI work because he can stop cover changes and force an ultimate when he's not even top 3? It doesn't make sense to me. It's not that he's not good, but it's the simple fact that you have to fix the whole team to work with him. What team are you running him on? Is he gonna fit better than anybody else on powerful opponents? Definitely not. Is he gonna fit better than any other every other unit on GT? Just doesn't make sense. You have to build a Saiyan team, and Saiyans in general, look at the top 10. It's not cooking. it's not a top tier team right now. It's really just phased out because the meta has shifted to powerful opponents. With Golden Frieza, Eloise come out, Hybrid Saiyans with Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So it's not that UI can't cook, but he naturally has less value because you have to put him on a team that isn't going to cook. The one team that he can work on that has stock, if it wasn't Saiyans, would be Son Family. And I know Son Family is good, right? But let's look at what Son Family units you'd have to run. You'd be running Bomku, Gohan, right? And then UI. The synergies, not the best, but it's not terrible at all. But really and truly, it doesn't mesh as well in any of the other teams. It's not a team that's consistently run. So it's like you're forcing the scraps just to have UI on the team, which isn't ideal in this meta, which is why I can't have UI higher than the units that I've already got on this list. So just for emphasis, he's not bad by any means. He can do the same countering job similar to how Super Baby cooks, but it's not ideal as any other team that you've seen in this meta. GT clears, powerful opponent clears, LOE clears. All of the top units here fit on at least one of those teams. So respectfully, I can't have UI higher than 9. But it's not that he's not usable, it's just not the best option in my opinion. And then last on this list, in my experience, I don't have Cell high stars, right? But a lot of people do respect him. And once upon a time, I did downplay him. But he's a very good usable option nonetheless. I feel like here, it just depends on your experience. Me personally, I would choose Jiren simply because I feel like Jiren's endurance layer can add more to the team than this KO. It's a lot more situational when you're taking advantage of it. But the explosive green here could be good as well, but Jiren also has that. You could say the damage here and the combo extension, but I'd say Jiren has blast armor, which could help you a lot more. So really and truly, I don't really care who's 10th. I think one of these two could fit the space nicely and the team would work very effectively. It's just down to your choice. But one thing I really do want to mention is there's no reason to be using Cell or Jiren when Ultra Golden Frieza exists. Unless you want to run double purple, where you risk fighting Super Baby 2 and UI, which will definitely turn you to shreds. There's no reason to be running these two when Ultra Golden Frieza does everything they can do better with the comeback ability. So I don't really care who goes last, but from my experience, I'm gonna take Jiren, but Cell could be there as well. It just doesn't matter to me. It just doesn't matter to me. So I'm gonna leave Jiren there at 10 from my experience, but really and truly it could be either or. But Ultra Golden Frieza is better than both of them, so what are we discussing here? Would I even have Jiren on my team in this meta? No. There's just no point because I have Ultra Golden Frieza. Even if I didn't have Ultra Golden Frieza, he'd be the better option on the team. So you should just count that as part of the thing. It's like having a second-rate unit in the top 10 when it isn't necessary. But yeah, should really go without saying, the honorable mentions should just be Cell. G4 and Pan are just... Pan's being used on Hybrid Saiyans, right? But it's not that. So let's just move them out. They were just making appearances the whole list. So Cell's clearly the honorable mention, but it could also be Jiren depending on what you want to do. And I don't think anybody else is of value to really contend with the members of this list. So if we're concluding the list, we've got Super 17, we've got Ultra Golden Frieza number 2, we've got Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan number 3, we've got Bomku number 4, we got Super Baby 2 number 5, we got Beast Gohan number 6, Gold Frieza number 7, Cell number 8, UI number 9, and then either one of these, one Jiren or Cell, number 10. And I think that pretty much makes the list. Alright, cool. So this tier list here, it's a lot more accurate to what PvP actually looks like. PvP, it's hard to really dictate what it's like from a top 10 list because you'd be having your own biases and opinions added to the list, which nobody can see instantly from looking at the tier list. But this tier list does a better job of explaining without having somebody have to explain it because the tiers are accurate. So for the first tier, we got God tier. These are units that basically carry the meta. The meta is built around them. Every time you play a PvP game, you consider, oh, am I going to run into 17 or am I going to run 17? Am I going to run into UGF or am I going to use him? And the same with Gohan. These top 3 here, they're units you cannot probably go a game without seeing because they are that dominant in PvP. They literally shift the whole meta. So that's the top 3 there. Here we got the support and disrupt. Now these units, they're second in the tier list because they're always paired with one of the best units in the game, which are these 3. So if you're running Bomku, you'd see him with Super 17, Super Baby, Super 17, but you see him with UGF on powerful opponents. Jiren, these 2, Cell, these 2, Bulla, 17, Pan, Gohan, but you see her with Pan as well if you want to have the Hybrid Saiyan base. First one, Frieza with UGF, 17 androids. You see how it's working. You see these guys are kind of slipping. You see as you go further back it kind of slips, but for the most part the support and disruptors, they're there to support the main cast of the game, which would be the god tiers. Moving down here we have the Ultra Instinct tier. Now the Ultra Instinct tier is here because it's literally based on how good of a player you are. If you're using UI and you're trash, he's gonna get melted. If you're using any of these and you're trash, you're gonna get melted. But at the same time, if you're amazing with them, perfect, you'll never get hit. That's why they have their own tier, and it's above the rest of the game. Here we're moving down to Attack Z. These are just the next attackers in the tiers. So we have the god tier ones, then we have these ones down here. So after Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, we'd have like Beast, Go Frieza, Barku, VB, etc, etc. Here we got the bench. The bench is pretty much units you'd pair together with any of these when you're building your team, but you're not bringing them to PvP. Then down here you sometimes might see these, but they're definitely not a first choice when building any team. So this is support and disrupt, but just a lower tier than over here. And then we have the attack tier, which is just a lower tier than over here. So the tier list makes a lot of sense. I don't need to really explain any of that. It should be very apparent given the labels on the tiers. But hopefully this is a lot more sensible, given some players might be new to the game and they want to see what PvP actually looks like, rather than just a plain top 10, which you have to explain for somebody to completely understand. The list got a bit political in my head, so the hat had to come off and it kept falling off. But let me know what you guys think about the list. I think the top 3 is the most solid part of the list, even the top 5. All the way 1 to 5, I'm very, very confident about that top 5. Down below, it gets a bit technical with the 1 or 2 placements that you might want to move 1 up or 1 down, but that's give or take, each to their own. You give your own opinion. Let me know down below in the comment sections what you thought about this tier list, what you think about Ultra Golden Frieza. But that's all I've got to say, man. If you haven't already, make sure to press that subscribe button. We're on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.